Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 17.04.02. This is for the development undertaken between the 19th of April to the 2nd of May. We'll start with the sprint goal as always, and we're beginning a project to enhance the connectivity between records. This is starting with a speculative CV send-out process that tracks and summarises the activity against all associated entities. We've also updated the feature that was introduced in the last sprint to include attaching the PARS document. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, we've introduced a new tab to the candidate, contact and company records that will list instances when a candidate has been speculatively sent to a contact. Included within this functionality is the option to create a requirement should the contact reply advising that they're interested in seeing the candidate for a position. As part of the last sprint, we introduced a process for updating existing records via the parser, and in this sprint we've added the option to attach that PARS document. We had some investigative works as part of this sprint with regards to auto-logging of errors and error handling in general, and we've set out a plan for implementing this, so you can expect to see this in a future sprint. And once again, as an ongoing project, we continue to make minor updates to the UI to tidy and polish it in the build-up to launch. We'll now go for a short demonstration on the features from this sprint. Okay, so we'll start within the candidate record looking at the new Spec CV Sent tab that's been added here. So we'll run through the workflow that's required to populate this area and then also look at it from a contact's perspective, from a company's perspective as well, and then go through creating the requirement. But if we start with the candidate, and we've got essentially a CV that we're looking to speculatively send to a contact. So we haven't got associated requirement next to it, we've just got a contact that we think might be interested in this candidate. We run this process here and it will ask you to now name it a search because we're creating a search that we're associating to this workflow. So it'll default by the candidate's name and a date there, but you could put anything you want there with regards to naming that search. We'll click OK there and it will now take us through into the contact search area, and here we're going to look up the contacts that we're looking to speculatively send this candidate to. In this instance I will look up a group of individuals, but namely I'm interested in sending to this chap here, which is basically myself, but as a view to what you would see in terms of working with the contact search results. You tick the contacts that you have in mind and then you have the option here to hit send. So from here we have the email that is then generated, and we'll select an appropriate email template. And then we'll choose that candidate's CV, so that gets generated there. You can obviously preview that email, and we'll just tidy it up to move some of the spacing there. Okay, and then when we're happy with it, we press send. So that email is now gone, and we've sent the email to the contact so that they've got the option to review that candidate's CV, and if they want, come back to us and confirm whether or not they want to move things ahead. So let's go back to the candidate record now, and if we go to the Spec CV Sent tab, what you'll see is the option here, or the details here that are now stored. So that might be a little bit confusing that it says David Payne there, because it's my user, but that's obviously the user that's done it. There's the contact, that's the company associated with that contact, and that's obviously the search name that was named at the beginning of the process, and obviously there's the date sent. We've got options here to track notes. So here we could enter just any generic notes that we may want to hold. We have the option to review the search, so if you like you could return to the previous search that was held there. And obviously you can see the results, and obviously who was sent the record will be ticked, and if you want you could choose to tick further records and send from there. You have the option to look at the contact record, and then you have spec CV sent there as well. And from here you have, there's several here on here, sorry, but this is obviously the top one that we've done here. You notice that it gives you the result count of all of the contacts that were stored in that search, but you obviously sent it to just one there, and you have the options as see from here to view the search, to open up the candidate, to make some notes. But the point I'll now come to is regards to the creation of the requirement record. So in the event of the contact returning to us saying that they like the candidate and they have a position in mind for them, at this point now you can now run this process to create the requirement. So I'll click here, and obviously it's defaulted the contact details and the company details there. We'll just enter in the role that the contact has in mind, hit save, and now the requirement record has been created, and you'll notice on the candidates tab that the candidate has been sent. Here they've gone through the process to the point of being sent and are ready straight away to be interviewed. Also at this point as well, with regards to it being sent, this date isn't the date of you actually creating the requirement. It's the date that your original CV or the original email was sent to the contact to review the CV. So that helps the workflow obviously start from that point and allow this requirement to continue, so you have an appropriate or correct audit trail. And then from here obviously we can go about creating the interview and progressing things from there. Okay, so the next point we're going to cover is with regards to the option that's been added when you're updating an existing record via the CV parser to attach the document. We'll start with in documents received, although you could have been within the candidates area clicking on the parse CV button, but when we click on the email and we hit parse attachment, already it's indicating that it's going to find some duplicates, but we hit OK with that. And let the CV parse. And it obviously comes through as always with the CV being previewed on the left and field options on the right with tab options across the top. So it's specifying that it's found some duplicates, and we obviously have the option there to view those duplicates. And when we click on the duplicate, we can update the selected record. So we're going to update this candidate. And again, this is the same view that we had before. The difference being is that we've just added the option in there to attach documents. So when you're using this functionality, you would update the fields that you want to update just by pressing on these tick fields, tick options here, change as you see fit, and then hit tick there to update the record and update that field. We obviously have the option now to attach this document. So we'll say that we've got a new CV for this candidate. Perhaps put the date there. And set this as the new default link. We then attach that, and it confirms that it attaches to the record, and when we're ready, we now click on this Go to Candidate button. That then takes us to the record, and obviously you can see from the documents that the new CV has been attached. If you have any queries or feedback, please get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, once it's deployed, there will be the option to submit future enhancement suggestions via the user voice integration. The next video will be the sprint plan for 17.05.01, and as before, this will contain a high-level overview on the items we intend to work on during this sprint. Thanks for watching.